that I learned from The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe, it's that bad things happen when you open your Christmas presents early, particularly if those presents happen to be dimensional portal thingies onto different planets. The Doctor is finally back in this year's Christmas special, and I had to say, even though it hasn't been 2 years, I missed him, and if he'd showed up at my doorstep, I would have hugged first. This episode began with a brilliant allusion back to the first episode where we ever saw Matt Smith as the Raggedy Doctor clinging to the edge of a spaceship that was hurtling toward Earth. I love the illusion, I thought it was really clever. I loved seeing the Doctor worm his way out of trouble, particularly when he happened to put on a spacesuit backwards in the process. This episode takes us into blitz-torn London, where Madge Arwell and her 2 children, Lily and Cyril, head off to Dorset to escape the bombings for Christmas, and wind up meeting a rather madcap caretaker, the Doctor. Oh my gosh. I loved seeing Matt Smith have fun with his role as the caretaker, putting in lemonade taps in the house and making pretty much the best bedroom ever. I know. And it's always fun to see children who aren't in mortal peril being enchanted by the Doctor, because you forget so much that people who encounter him when they're not also living through some kind of tragedy can see him as this really fun, sort of quirky friend, not as a disturbingly childlike man who has to save everyone. While I liked the C.S. Lewis illusions, I felt that we could have done with more of them, and that the Winter Wonderland that was inside of the box was a bit of a disappointment to me, as were the monsters. I mean, we didn't really have monsters in this. It was more of just like the Doctor providing Christmas cheer to a family that was experiencing some terrible personal tragedy, and as heartwarming as that was, I was waiting for the wood creatures to be really, really scary, and then when they weren't really scary, I was a little bit let down. But I did enjoy how the Doctor wound up in his worst nightmare in a situation where everything, including the building and the monsters, were made of wood, and his good old Sonic just wasn't going to cut it. Despite the sentimentality in this, I really did enjoy the episode, particularly the weighty themes of people dying in war, which you really don't see so much of in Doctor Who. It's more at peril from monsters as opposed to man being both the villain and the hero. I also liked the subtle nod to the Keep Calm and Carry On posters when the Doctor said, "Hold tight and pretend it's a plan." That was pretty good. I would buy a t-shirt with that on, I'm just saying. I also liked the wit of having a mothership to convey the souls of the trees out of the acid rain so that they wouldn't be melted down for batteries. I liked that the Doctor wouldn't do, but Madge would, because only a woman who can feel for her children can feel enough to transport an entire forest of souls through the space vortex. Really liked that. And speaking of the vortex, I liked how when there were no stars and no moon to light Reg Arwell the way home, it was his wife in a rewritten version of time who was able to get him home for Christmas safely, because Mummy always comes and Daddy always comes home for Christmas. I thought that was really sweet, if a little bit pat, but Doctor Who is a kid's show, and especially the Christmas episode has to have so much heart and be so much more of a family episode than I think a lot of the others. I also liked seeing Amy and Rory, although you could see definitely how the Doctor not knowing how much time had passed between the last time he saw them is just creating even more problems between the 3 of them, and how it's pretty irreparable at this point. I also like the Doctor's observation that crying while you're happy is just so human, as he thinks himself incapable of sustaining the same emotion, and then finds out at the end that he is just as human as humans when it comes to seeing people that he cares about as deeply as family on Christmas and knowing that they want to welcome him into their home, despite the fact that it's been 2 years. Yeah, 2 years, that's a long time. I wonder what Stephen Moffat's going to do with that and how that's going to play out. Whether you spent the holidays unwrapping lots of little blue boxes under your Christmas tree or lighting your menorah to guide the way home, happy holidays and Happy New Year from Doctor Who Online, and thanks for watching. Bye 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 bye!